Today, we're diving deep into the explosive testimony coming out of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And it's all centered on one terrifying question. Has South Africa's entire police force been captured by organized crime?
Just let that sink in for a moment. Those are the words of KwaZulu-Natal's police commissioner. And he's right. This really isn't just about a few bad apples or some run-of-the-mill corruption. This is about control of the state itself. So let's break down exactly what the commission has been hearing.
All right, so let's start with the investigation that is absolutely shaking the nation to its core. The Madlanga Commission is pulling back the curtain on a deep crisis within the South African Police Service, or SAPS as we'll call it. Now, on paper, its job is to probe systemic criminality and political meddling inside the police. But what it's uncovering seems to go so much further than just a few isolated incidents of bad behavior. The central claim is, well, it's unbelievable. It's that a powerful and sophisticated crime cartel, known on the street as the Big Five, has allegedly wormed its way into the police, co-opting senior officials and basically turning the country's security apparatus into its own private criminal enterprise. So who exactly are these alleged masterminds? Well, the evidence being presented to the commission points to civilian figures, people who don't hold any official rank, but who seem to wield immense power over the police.
Two names keep coming up as the central players. First, you've got Vusimuzi Cat Matlala. He's the alleged financier, a guy who seems to effortlessly blur the lines between legitimate government contracts and dirty underworld money. Then there's Steve Matsumi, a private security boss who's been described as a shadow kingmaker. They say he's so feared that even senior police generals are terrified to say his name out loud.
To really get how this stuff works in practice, let's look at a case study that came up at the commission. It involves a local braai spot, Shishanyama, that somehow landed a very specialized municipal contract.
And the numbers just tell a wild story. A company run by Matlala's wife put in a bid for 66,000 rand for this skills development contract. But get this, the final payout from the municipality was over 3.7 million rand. That is nearly 60 times the original bid. This single example gives you a sense of the sheer scale of the alleged looting.
But here's the thing. A syndicate like this can't just operate from the outside. You absolutely need facilitators on the inside, people who can open the right doors, and more importantly, provide cover when things get hot. And that brings us to Sergeant Fanny Nkosi. The commission is her testimony that paints him as the main go-between, the guy who peddles information and kickbacks. His alleged role is to be a kind of firewall, an insulated conduit that lets senior commanders talk to the cartel while giving them plausible deniability.
And Nkosi's credibility? Well, it pretty much fell apart under questioning about a credit card belonging to Cat Matlala that was found in his house. Just look at how his story kept changing. First, he says he found it in September. Then, suddenly, it was December. Was it in Limpopo? Nope, wait, maybe it was Harpy Sport. Did he just stumble upon it, or did Matlala actually tell him where it was? The story was all over the place. The sergeant tried to blame all these inconsistencies on human error, but the commission's evidence leader floated a totally different theory, that the card was basically a tool for bribery. So what do you think? Was this just a simple case of a bad memory, or was this a cover story collapsing in real time?
And it gets worse. This alleged capture isn't just about lining their pockets. It's about protecting the whole operation by systematically sabotaging the very police units that are designed to stop them.
A perfect example of this is the Political Killings Task Team. By all accounts, this unit was incredibly effective, right up until its investigation led it from KwaZulu-Natal into Gauteng, which just so happens to be the home turf of the Big Five. And what happened then? It was abruptly shut down. The order came straight from the top, from the then police minister Senzo Mchunu. He claimed the unit's work had become illegal. But then, in a pretty stunning move, President Cyril Ramaphosa himself submitted a written statement to Parliament, and he made it crystal clear. He did not approve that decision and was, in his words, dissatisfied with the minister going it alone. So what was at the heart of this shutdown? Why was there this major political conflict? It all came down to this number, 121. 121 sensitive case files. These were active investigations. Testimony alleges that these dockets were just pulled from the investigators in KZN, shipped to national headquarters, and then nothing. They were left to just collect dust, effectively killing every single one of those cases. And just when you think this whole scandal couldn't possibly get any bigger, testimony at the commission connected this whole web of intrigue directly to the second highest office in the entire country. Remember Sergeant Nkosi and that credit card? Well, while he was being grilled about it, he dropped an absolute bombshell. He testified that Madlanga needed the card back urgently because, and I'm quoting here, he was on his way to a meeting with Deputy President Paul Mashatile.
Now, it is absolutely crucial that we pause here and note that the Deputy President's office responded immediately and very forcefully. They released a statement saying Mashatile categorically denies the claims, that he does not know the individuals involved, and that, in fact, he was out of the country at the time this supposed meeting took place.
So let's just step back and connect all these dots. The testimony is painting a picture of this multi-pronged attack on the state. You've got an external syndicate allegedly calling the shots and providing the cash. You have compromised insiders providing access and cover. You have elite investigations that get too close being systematically shut down. And now, the allegations are reaching the very top of governments.
And all of this leaves us with a really, really unsettling question. It's one that the Madlanga Commission, and frankly the entire nation, now has to face. When the very people who are meant to protect you are themselves under investigation, who is left to guard the guardians?